Hi everybody, and welcome to my beautiful, precious cosmic sister, Corinne Mooney, all the way from Arizona, and myself, Anne, Anula. Anula is actually a nickname for Anna in Greek, so that's why I
Wow.
picked that one. So anyway, welcome to the Cosmic Sister Show with Corinne and Anne, and today's show is going to be about a review of all the 4 agreements. We did a series of the 4 agreements last year, I think around this time, in January, February actually. And now we're going to have a review of all the 4 agreements, and we're going to journey into the 5th agreement.
Wow.
So, in a world overflowing with noise, stories, and inherited beliefs, we gather again in the luminous field of the cosmic Sis-Stars to breathe, remember, and realign with truth. This week, Anne and Corinne open a gentle yet powerful doorway into the 4 agreements, revisiting their timeless Toltec wisdom through the lens of lived experience, emotional sovereignty, and modern awakening. Wow. From the clarity of impeccable words to the freedom of not taking things personally, to the peace that comes when assumptions dissolve, to the grace of simply doing our best. We explore how these agreements continue to shape our inner landscape. And then we step into the expanded horizon of the 5th agreement, an invitation to question the stories of the world while listening with a heart wide open. A teaching that deepens perception, sharpens discernment, and guides us beyond illusion into the essence of what is real. This conversation is about remembering, a returning, a celebration of the soul's natural clarity, which we have talked a lot about, right?
Yes.
So come join us in this circle of truth, curiosity, and cosmic sister and brotherhood. Your presence enriches the field. And today we have Wednesday, March 11th in the US and Europe, and in our future Australia, it's Thursday, early morning, March 12th. And again, we're going to talk about a review of the 4 agreements and discussing the 5th agreement. So here we go.
Yes. Well, it's amazing that wisdom so ancient, the Toltec wisdom, does not come from a nationality or a race, but scientists and artists came together to explore and conserve the spiritual knowledge and the healing practices of the ancient people. And this wisdom arises from the same essential unity as all of our spiritual traditions that are found around the world. It is a philosophy, not a religion, but it honors the spiritual masters who have taught before us. And when these people came together, they became masters or nodules, and their students studied in the ancient city of pyramids right outside of Mexico City at a place called, and we're going to try and pronounce it. How would you give that pronunciation?
I think Teotihuacan. I don't know if I think I ruined it.
That's okay. We're going to call it by its name that we remember it, as a place where man becomes God. And unfortunately, when Mexico was invaded, the nodules decided to protect the teachings and went into hiding. And thank goodness they did. And thank goodness that they have come back out again. And this beautiful man, Don Miguel Ruiz, um, was being trained as a nodule. His grandmother was one of these healers. And but he did not want to hang around with the old stuff, and he became a doctor, very well renowned doctor. And after many years, he realized that the illnesses were coming from the oppression that we had done to our soul. And he left that profession and became and brought to us the Four Agreements, which, when we were born and we were allowed to follow our instincts, they would guide us to be happy and joyful. And we were in a place of love and the greatest potential. And then we had all these loving people that decided that their ideas needed to be passed down and their visions on how we should live, how we should become a good human, how we should fit in. And we were domesticated. Whoa.
Whoa, that sounds harsh, right?
That sounds harsh.
That
But,
sounds harsh.
but yay to the door that has been opened, and that is what we're going to be discussing now.
Exactly. And I missed actually to talk about something. I just want to mention we had a wonderful lady on as a special guest last week. That was Joan of Angels, and we
Yes.
talked about awakening the miracle frequency, angels, soul vision, and living with purpose. So if you want to go back and check past shows, you can find past and upcoming episodes at youtube.com/at Cosmic Guardians 111/streams and youtube.com/at Angel Place on Earth/streams. And also you can find us at angelplaceonearth.com/Cosmic Guardians. That's all info that you may want to read, right? To recap things.
Yes.
And it's interesting because, the Four Agreements for me is one of the greatest tools because it's so easy, and many times we complicate things in the spiritual arena, right? We think that we need to, it's like, climbing Mount Everest. No, we don't need to do that. We need to pay attention. Doesn't always mean that it feels comfortable to do the journey, but the sense of feeling uncomfortable is very often coming from that it differs from what we have been taught in the world, right? So
Exactly.
it feels that we are discovering our inner core here and the wisdom of the soul as something new, but it's not
Yes.
new, right?
Not at all. And when we're under the influence of the people that are supposed to be guiding us, uh, we begin to forsake our true inheritance because we want to fit in. And we've talked about that quite a bit. But then after a while, our soul begins to murmur and mutter and get restless and say, there's something else out there. There's a freedom that we used to feel, but we no longer feel it. There's a happiness that we used to have, and we're no longer happy. And there is a beauty within us that we've been taught that we do not have, and it is going to come from outside of us. And we begin to look at the symbols and the ideas and the indoctrination and the expectations, and they
Yeah.
don't fill our souls anymore.
No, they don't. And um, Do you want us to just recap very briefly the four agreements so we can continue then with the fifth?
Um, that's kind of what I was going to be doing, and I think that's a good idea.
Good, great. So, you could say that the four agreements are agreements you make with yourself, right?
Hmm.
So you try to pay attention to your way of being because we can't change someone else. We can work with ourselves and we can change our perception, how we talk to ourselves, stuff of that nature, right? Self
Yes.
work. So, what is the first agreement?
Ah, be impeccable with your speech. Uh, and that comes from the moment you wake up in the morning and you look in the mirror and you go, oh, another bad hair day. You've already set the tone for the day. Where if you come in and you see then the hair is going everywhere, you go, well, this is going to be a challenge, or what can we do with this? You have now opened up possibilities. And the simplicity of starting my day by being impeccable with the first words out of my mouth have allowed me to become the creator of my own creations.
Yes. And this first agreement is interesting because it's what do I say? Am I talking my thinking? That is also awareness, right?
Mhm.
So, what are my thoughts telling me? And how do I express that? What do I say? But also, how do I talk to myself? How do I pick the wording towards myself? Do I
Yes.
value myself? Do I value people around me, my family, or am I going to pick on them or say something nasty because I just feel for it? And I call that integrity. I like that one, right? That's not
Yeah.
integrity.
Right.
So,
Exactly. And I mean, if you understand vibration, and we've talked a lot about there again, my tongue is making words different. Uh, the
I'm
vibrations that
just
you
kidding.
um, okay, okay, down, down, down.
I'm sorry.
Uh, if we really believe how vibration changes things, in the very beginning, it was the word, and the
Yeah,
word became. So if we're using a high vibration and a high integrity with our words, even though we haven't quite may not agree with it, maybe we woke up a little on the wrong side of the bed. However, we can change that by changing the vibration of the words that we give to ourselves. I mean, just
yeah,
simply look in the mirror and say, I love you. I love you just the way you are, and we're gonna see this day through the best we can, and that makes a difference. It does make a
yes.
difference.
And you could look in the mirror and tell yourself, your hair looks different today. Maybe it's not the best hair day, but you are perfectly imperfect.
Absolutely.
Your favorite saying, right?
Oh yes, yes, yes.
Yeah.
But then, what do you think about that second one?
Yeah, I think that is very interesting too, because this is something many do. So when we are encountering things in our lives, there is it's a common theme among many. I'm generalizing, of course. They turn things back to themselves. So if
Yes,
someone doesn't answer the phone or someone didn't say hi to them, or maybe they have a bad day, but they turn it inwards towards themselves. and they take it personally. So the second agreement is don't take anything personally, because we don't have the full picture always. We can
Exactly.
sense and pick up things, but when we take things personally, it's somehow like we are judging something, even if it may not be judging someone else, obviously bad, right? But we are
Yes,
judging ourselves if we turn it back towards ourselves. Or maybe we get angry and we don't have that understanding of how people, and I think that's, we are all unique. We are all have our own way of living our life. Some have a tendency to always be busy. Talking about me.
me.
But it's my thing to navigate through that, right? And
Yes,
it's my thing to pick and choose um, whether I should answer everything at once or not. And I can tell this. I remember the old days when we had those landlines at home. How wonderful. So people called and they couldn't find you because maybe you were out, you weren't reachable. It wasn't the end of the day. But these
exactly.
days, when we have the phone, we're supposed to be available all the time. So if you don't answer in 2 hours, some people panic.
Exactly. Or if you happen to be, the scenario I used was, um, I can remember growing up with all of these fears and self-doubt and self-judgment, and you would see two of your friends standing away from you, and they kept looking at you and they kept talking. So we take it personally and think they're talking about us. And what are they saying? Is this good? Is it bad? And then they giggle, and then you wonder what's happening. And we make up all of these stories in our own mind, and we
Yeah,
start creating something that they're probably talking about, something they saw the other day. But this is where, by not taking it personally, we don't go down that lane, and then we don't start making stories up about ourselves. Well, uh, is this happening? What do they know about me? And this is where the danger comes, and that real lack of communication. And
yeah.
and
And
following this,
go ahead, sorry.
no, no, just following this path, I started developing this philosophy that, and very late in life, what other people say about me is really none of my business, and they're entitled to their opinions, and I just go along happily. And if whatever, and we'll resolve it. If they come at me and say, you've really been a that, I go, okay, well, yes, I probably have,
And that
but
that is perfect because we can't be in charge of what others are going to say. And by the way, if they have an opinion about us, if they would have,
yeah,
which usually is not the case, but we are sensitive, so we are picking that up, right? If
correct.
they have, yeah, they are welcome to have, because they don't have the whole picture about our lives as well, do they? No.
Nope.
So
No.
what one could say that the second agreement, the agreement that says don't take anything personally, is a reminder that the actions and words of others are a reflection of their own reality, not ours. And when
Perfect.
we take things personally, we allow others to control our emotions and reactions. So, by understanding that nothing others do is because of us, we can free ourselves from unnecessary suffering and maintain our inner peace.
Perfect. It's perfect. It's perfect. You know, and and then right after that, if you're starting to take it personally, we
Yes.
have a tendency to make assumptions. Um,
Oh,
Now,
yes.
I grew up, and they used to break that word, and if you make assumptions, you make a ASS out of you and me, because it's ASSUME. So to make assumptions, you're really not helping the situation at all. And but if you take it personally, then you're going to assume they're talking about you and assume that it's bad because we've been trained to think it's bad, not good. And there again, building that story and building the drama and the trauma. Why didn't they call? Because I'm a this, because I didn't do that. Maybe I should do this. And oh,
Exactly. They didn't answer me. They didn't call back. They didn't do that. They didn't do this. If I tell them this, what are they going to think about me? Things of that nature, right? And we
exactly.
assume that it's going to be to our disadvantage, right?
Yes, yes.
Yes. You know, um, this agreement urges us to communicate clearly and ask questions, clarify instead of making assumptions. By
Yeah.
seeking clarity and expressing our needs and desires openly, we can avoid the pitfalls of miscommunication and build stronger, more honest relationships. So if you don't understand something or you have that question, why don't ask it? And if you are angry when you're asking it, of course, that's going to bring the energy also of anger. So maybe you have a little bit of resistance. Do this when you feel calm, right?
Uh-huh. Yes.
But also something when we have this, when we're asking, if we are a person who is asking all the time, that goes over to wanting to be in control. That's different, right?
Yes, and needy, needy.
Sorry.
You know,
Yeah.
tell me how to act. What do I look like? What if this? What is your opinion? And so that's a whole nother thing. But it can all lead to that. This is why the four agreements are just so simplistically extremely hard, but beautiful tools because they start eliminating 90% of the frustrations and
Yeah.
freeing yourself to be true to yourself and finding a different way to perceive things. And what a gift. And I say they're very simple. You read them, anybody can do that. However, when I'm teaching the class, I say to the people that are attending, I said, don't go out and announce to the universe, today I'm not going to be making assumptions, because the universe is going to give you every opportunity to make an assumption. And at the end of the day, you go, well, I'll never get this right because every day, I mean, every moment I was assuming that and assuming that. So just gently say, I'm ready to start my self mastery, but don't give it a challenge because it will help you out. And it's but they
It-
are simple.
yeah, they are. And another note here, many times people feel that, okay, I did great for a week and then I kind of fell back again, right? But it's
Uh-huh.
not a failure.
No.
Remember, everything is a process and awareness is the key. So if others want to make assumptions about you, you can just communicate how it really is for you, right? If you
Yes.
want to, but be aware of controlling people, because that's a different area, right?
Yes.
And we don't need to explain everything, but we need to be clear. And sometimes you will also find people who, no matter how many times you are clarifying yourself, they're not going to get it. So let
Ex-
them then, because
Yes.
if they want to take the message in their own way and interpret it as they think rather than how you meant, yeah, well, it's up to them still, isn't it? We don't
Yes.
even need to be angry.
And I have found that by really embracing the four agreements, I find my own personal freedom. When I say personal freedom, that means that I don't have to continually justify who I am. I don't have to always defend who I am. I can just acknowledge that that's their opinion and that's okay. I don't have to take it personally and say, well, that's not right and I have to this. So it eliminates that need to go to battle to become right, because as you said, there are some people, I mean, you could write a book and they're still going to have that opinion, and it's not going to change. So I mean, that's what the world is all about. These people that take hold of something and there's no way they're going to give up that particular idea, and they're going to defend it with everything they have. So learning how to be able to just say, well, that's the way that is, and walk away. You don't have to constantly be out there proving to the world, because you already are perfectly imperfect.
Exactly. Good. Well said. Um, yeah, and I think the last one of the four agreements, right?
Mm-hmm.
I love that one. Always do your best. And what does that really mean, right? So the
Yes.
fourth agreement is about giving your best effort in every situation. Your best will vary from moment to moment, from day to day, from month to month. You understand,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Depending on your circumstances and energy levels. So what I'm doing today, I may not have the energy for it tomorrow. I'm not going to do it equally good, or I may do it 20 times better. But don't judge yourself for it, because always doing your best in the sense as we are talking about, and accepting that your best varies, you avoid self-judgment,
Mm-hmm.
regret, and guilt. There's nothing to be guilty for. For instance, the choices I made 10 years ago, or 15 years ago, or 20 years ago, think of it this way instead. Maybe that was the best choices I could do at that time. Maybe things are looking very different at this time, or even last week, right?
Exactly.
So, so this agreement encourages us to embrace our imperfections and strive for continuous improvement. And that's enough. You are enough. We are all enough,
Yes.
leading us to a more fulfilling and balanced life.
That's true. And I often say that the universe gives us an opportunity to really experience what we're choosing to live. And I was asked to come and give a talk about the four agreements, and it was a bunch of prestigious women, all dressed absolutely to the hilt. You know, the makeup, the shoes, everything was just absolutely perfect. And it happened to be during this time of year when the allergies in Arizona and I are not real friends. And that day, as even today, I have no eye makeup on because there's no way I'm going to put anything near my eyes. And I showed up on stage and I was impeccably dressed. The hair was having a great day, but I had no makeup on because I couldn't put anything on my face. And of course, I stepped onto the stage and every woman went like this. And I said, ladies, the fourth agreement, always do your best. This is my best today. And that had more impact than any other thing I could have said during the whole time. And that's what it is. And some days you're just at the top of the mountain, and some days You're starting at the bottom again, and that's okay.
Yeah, it is okay. I think that a lot of times we put pressure on ourselves, right? So we need to be perfect, 110% perfect, not doing anything wrong, saying anything wrong. And you know what I say? Sometimes there are frogs popping out of my mouth. It happens. That's a Swedish saying.
I
Okay,
love
you
that.
laugh again, right?
I love that. Yes, I find that there's times when uh, and I'm going to get a little bit more crude. Sometimes it's like you have diarrhea of the mouth, and the words just keep stumbling out, and you go, I need to kind of gather those around and do something with them because they're not. But yes, sometimes we just. But there again, it comes again. Then if you go back to the be impeccable with your speech, if you're really in a committed relationship and you really want to be understood, you pause to think before you open your mouth, and you start learning to use discernment, um, and have that uh, conscious awareness of the words that you're saying and how they're going to impact others. And then when you're with friends, you just let it all hang out, and that's okay too. So, but that
Exactly. So
impeccability comes up.
I'm just going to say the four agreements very, very fast, and then we can move on to the fifth.
Yes,
Is that okay? So,
perfect.
first agreement, be impeccable with your word. Second agreement, don't take anything personally. Third agreement, don't make assumptions. Don't assume. Fourth agreement, always do your best, and your best varies, right?
Yes.
So I'm so curious, what is the fifth agreement all about?
Oh, the fifth agreement, it encourages us to question, guiding us to be skeptical, but learning how to hone our communications. But the listening, not listening with the ears, but the heart.
We have a few people here actually in the chat room, and someone says, love all the agreements. Yeah, they are good. And there are other things beyond this as well. But
Yes,
um, I think you mentioned also, Corinne, conscious skepticism, right? So this agreement, the fifth agreement, also asks us to question the stories we are told. And
yes,
I think that's a big part of the spiritual journey, digging in within and rediscovering yourself, because
yes,
we had been told things, family, culture, race, um, belief, values, and we are not off the hook wherever we are in the world, because it differs in ideas and values and things of that nature, but we are being fed with them from day one when we come into this world, right?
hmm
So how can I find my truth? How can I find my way through all of this?
Okay. If you, when you get these stirrings, that the stories that you have repeated and lived for so long are not your story, there's something a little off, and you start doing your own self inquiry, your own self love. It starts with self love because you love yourself enough to question Does this work for me? Just because everybody told me that I should wear pale colors and everything else because I was a redhead, it did not fit. I am a redhead, a true redhead, but I love bright and shiny. If it's not shiny, it doesn't go with me. So I'm not your typical, you know, wear this because that's what we told you looks best on you. I found my rhythm. I found my truth. And that as simple as that. But when you start doing that, you begin to realize and you start questioning everything else. And it's not that you're going to throw everything out, it's you're going to see how does it fit with you. And I think that's the beauty of the fifth. It allows you to question without judgment.
Yes, exactly. So if you do your best to use the four agreements in your daily life, the fifth agreements can act as a roadmap for you to personal freedom and a testament to the power of ancient wisdom in modern times, because it's fascinating sometimes how much we in the modern world complicate things, don't we?
Oh, yes. Yes. That seems to be our motto and our marching orders is go out and make it complicated, and in the simplicity is where the beauty lies. And just a personal note, when I have someone here that is helping me do things, and he always wants to do it as the hardest way he can do it. Like if we're going to be taking certain tools out to an area in the yard to work with, he'll take one tool out, then he'll come back, he'll take another tool out, then he'll take the container to put the stuff in. And I just simply say, wouldn't it be easier to put all the tools in the garbage bin and just roll it all out there? Now we've saved about 30 minutes of walking back and forth. And it seems so simplistic. And yet, when we take the complications out of our life, we take the complications out of how we resolve situations, a clarity begins to form.
Yeah.
And that's the beauty of these wonderful tools. And then when the clarity begins to open up a little bit, and we have the courage with the fifth agreement to say, that really would work better for me if I did this. I'm going to keep that, but I'm going to disregard this. And with no judgment. We're not doing it because it's bad or good or indifferent. It's just not for us.
No, and it's a little bit like we have been talking about also, that we are unique and we all have our own way of doing things, right? So
Yes.
it means that if you have a task at hand, you're going to conquer that in your own way, while I maybe will do it differently.
Yes.
Um, but that's going to be my way. And if we learn to open up our minds in that sense too, it's going to open up a whole new world. Because even though we may not be able to do exactly 100% everything, most things can be conquered. I love the word conquer here because I'm a conqueror.
Yes.
If
Yes.
I find a roadblock on my path, I'm going to try to figure out if it's something I really feel I want to do this. I'm going to find my way of doing it, no matter what. But
Yeah.
if it's not have any worth for me, then I'm going to leave it behind, right?
Yes. And the beauty of the fifth also is that When I began accepting me and I find my truth, I can accept that your truths are your truths. You don't have to do it the way I do it. You don't have to think the way I think, because now we can contribute different opinions in a loving, healthy way, because we're not taking it personally. We're not assuming that I'm right and you're wrong. And we are doing our best. And you see how it fits together like this beautiful symphony. And okay, over
Yeah.
here you're going to play this, and then you're going to play that, and and this allows everyone to walk their path with respect and dignity. And
Exactly. And it creates harmony above every anything else.
yes,
And respect. Respectful way of understanding that we all have our own way of doing things, right?
yes.
And because I'm a doer just like you, I love doing things that are considered not for women. But I
Oh,
have
yes.
a hammer drill, I have tools like
Oh,
that, right? And I know you have too.
absolutely.
Uh,
Yes,
so when someone says to me, well, you can't do that, and I say, who's saying that? Why couldn't I?
that's right.
Maybe if you need to have muscles like a bodybuilder, yeah, maybe I need help once in a while, but I'm going to figure out when I need and when I don't need, right?
Yeah, yeah.
There are always, if you use all our senses, because we still need to use our thinking sometimes, think things through, pause, like you said, right?
That's,
Figure it out. There's always a way. There's always a way.
yeah. And when you become uh, an aware thinker, that is when you start developing discernment. You you find the words that are going to be uplifting and inspiring rather than ones that are going to tear a person down. Um, I have always come from the philosophy that if you want me to accomplish something, not that you're going to say, good girl, that's wonderful, you're beautiful, all that, that is superficial. But if you say, you can do it, have faith in yourself, you are able to do anything that you put your mind up to. These are words of encouragement to saying, well, you know, you were stupid to try that project. And how come you didn't do that? You see, those aren't going to encourage me. But when we start finding the beautiful, impeccable words, we are uplifting and, encouraging. This makes such a difference.
It makes a huge difference. And also the fifth agreement, it expands the wisdom of the original four agreements, right?
Yes,
By inviting us to be skeptical but learn to listen. Exactly like you said, it teaches us discernment, encouraging us to question beliefs and perceptions while remaining open to truth and deeper understanding. So actually, it adds a dimension of conscious skepticism. I think we said that before too. Am I repeating myself?
that's perfect.
Conscious,
That's perfect.
um, it asks us to question the stories behind everything. You know, it asks us to, do I really believe that I can't do that? Is that a strong belief in me? Maybe that's where I need to put in my effort right now, if I believe that, right? If I
Hmm.
have the belief that I can't. Because the thing is also, when we live life and we want to manifest things, we are going to manifest the same vibration we are holding within.
Exactly.
So there is no way of sliding around, skipping certain steps, and thinking that I'm going to manifest uh, that which I desire without changing anything here within, or at least working on myself. So if I hold on to beliefs that I cannot do it, I already set up the framework, didn't I?
Yep. And we are, because we are perfectly imperfect, we are always adding new color. We're always adding a different sound, a different vibration. And that's the beauty of it, that we are always this beauty in motion. We're not stagnant. We're not cast in iron. Uh, I especially get, kind of like when a person says that that's all they're going to be and that's all they ever were, and keep it like that. And I think, what a shame, because they don't even see what the end results are going to be. And it's the journey, and it's in the adding and everything else. And I think we're never finished with our masterpiece.
No, we're not. And there are so many things to discover out there. So why don't everybody go ahead and figure
That's
it
right.
out, right?
That's right. Yeah. So
And
why am I starting to squirm? Are there questions?
yes, there are a few questions always, right? I just want to mention, so together, the five agreements weave a living path of freedom. They invite us to walk authentically, to let go of fear, and to awaken the spirit's natural clarity. We have the answers within. The four agreements dissolve illusions and open space for truth, while the fifth agreement deepens perception, guiding us to see beyond appearances into the essence of what is real. In their union, these teachings empower us to move through a noisy world with compassion, courage, and luminous awareness. Do you agree?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I am so grateful for having these tools fall into my lap, and also for being able to talk about them, because it brings them back to the surface of the awareness. And
Yeah,
thank
it
you.
does.
Yeah,
And, we always need to repeat and talk about and rediscover things in this noisy world, right? Don't we?
absolutely. Absolutely.
So here come the questions.
Oh,
So first question. Yeah, I want to clarify first. I always ask Miss Green here 5 simple questions related
simple.
to the topic. Yeah, simple. And sometimes she's throwing them back at me, but they are also offered to all of you listening and watching as gentle reflections to explore within yourselves, right? So it's not only for us, they
Yes.
are meant for reflection. So, which of the four agreements, of the five agreements, feel most alive or relevant in your life right now, and why? That's a simple one.
Simple. Simple. They're so intertwined, and one leads to the other. But if I only had one agreement that I was allowed to live with, I would have to go with the first one, be impeccable with my speech, because that sets the tone for everything. And if I'm impeccable with my speech, then I'm not going to be as easily making assumptions about things, because I'm telling myself that I can do this, that I am following and finding my own self mastery, um, which is going to eliminate doubt and judgment and these things. So I would say that if that was the only one on a desert island that I had, that would be pretty much a savor of my life.
Beautiful. So, can you recall a moment when being impeccable with your word changed the energy of a situation.
That's a hard one because it's every time. When
Yes.
I slow down and become into awareness thinking, the words that I use, and the beauty is I know that I'm being guided. I'm not this master of words, but I'm intuitive, and the intuition guides my words. And one particular time, I'm going to throw that one back at you because it's almost every time that I'm speaking to someone. So I can't remember the first.
Okay. Well, I think like you, I think both of us have done this so long, and it's not to put ourselves above anything else, but it becomes more like a habit. It's a way of living. It's a
Yes,
lifestyle in the end, because you stubbornly, I love to say stubbornly, work on trying to integrate those things and paying attention to what you are saying. Um, you know, for me also, each and every time, it is very, very important. It is how I can express everything that I want, but it's
yes,
the way I deliver what I'm saying and what I'm exactly saying. If I'm going to confront a person and putting them into the corner and saying, calling them bad names or bad words or, threatening or something, that's not going to be a good outcome. If I'm going to express, for instance, this is how I perceive or feel about this situation, that's going to be taken differently. I'm not going to try to nail the other person with something, right? So it's about how we talk. It's if you even when we talk to ourselves. So if I would say to myself, "Hi Melissa, hi Christina, I'm Melissa from New Zealand, and Christina, you know Christina, don't you? I think that you know Christina,
yes,
Corinne, yeah,
yes,
beautiful.
yes.
So we are both here. Okay, so hi Melissa. Um, I said something, didn't I? I lost track. But anyway, I'm going to come back to it. Yeah, how I talk to myself. If I'm continuously degrading myself, and I tell myself, yeah, you're not worth anything. You can't do that. Um, that's not going to lift me up at all. It's not going to
Right.
change anything for me. So I can't do that either, can I?
Yep. And I have an aha moment when you started talking and you said, "When was the first time?" And now I can remember. After my divorce and having lived for 40 years of being put down, other people's opinions, and so on and so forth, I found Louise Hay, and she had this little uh, song, a little ditty that was on in those days, a cassette tape, and it was "I Love Myself." And
Yeah.
I began singing that song 24/7 and listening to it. I love myself the way I am. There's nothing I need to change. I love myself the way I am. There's nothing to, but I can always rearrange. And it became, and I didn't even know about the four agreements, but I would say if anything changed my life and started me on the path of self awareness, that was the first moment. I love
Yeah,
myself.
that's beautiful. Yeah. And from Louise Hay, I loved her affirmations and what she actually taught people. And she also said to people to stand in front of a mirror. And that can
Yes.
be amazingly difficult for some people to
Yes.
look at themselves in the mirror and tell themselves, "You're perfect. I love you." right?
Well, we need to have, maybe we need to have a little podcast on our friend. I actually got to meet her, and that was really quite a journey uh, to actually meet her in live living person and hear her speaking. So
Yes.
yeah,
So remind me, please. I'm going to put that up so we can talk about. I haven't met
yeah,
her in person, but I
yeah,
know, and she started Hay House and everything. Amazing
right,
woman. Anyway, so Melissa, 40 years I'm learning to love myself. Yes, but you're on your way. That's
absolutely,
the only thing that matters. And you
yeah,
are, as both Karina and myself, perfectly imperfect,
that's right. Yes.
just as we are. So, third question. What helps you remember not to take things personally when emotions run high?
When I take it personally and it doesn't work out well, it's like, and I go, darn, I should have not taken that personally. Um, but I think sometimes, as much as we live in this world, being human, we occasionally will kind of wander off the path. And I think that is the biggest awareness of when I wander off the path and I go, darn, I should have taken that personally and I wouldn't be in this mess. However, with the tools, it allows me to readjust quickly and
Yes,
let go of having taken it personally and readjust and come back with words of impeccability and
yes.
resolve the situation at a higher frequency.
Beautiful.
That was a
Fantastic.
that
Because
was a mouthful.
we also need to remember that we are actually souls having a human experience. And it's not going to be pink and roses every day. And we are going to react sometimes. But the awareness is key. And we can rearrange at any time when
That's
we
right.
are aware. That's important. And that's maybe one of our imperfections, but that's okay too, because we are perfectly imperfect.
Absolutely. And we selected to be able to have these experiences uh, and I think because we are such great people of expectations that we said, oh, we can handle that. Oh, throw a little of this in. Oh, well, how about a little of that? Oh, well, while we're at it, let's do this. And, then we come down here and we go, what was I thinking?
Exactly. So, fourth question. Where do
Okay.
you notice where do you notice yourself making assumptions and how do you bring more clarity or curiosity instead?
Oh,
Simple
that
question.
it is because someone asked me one time, well, you have to make assumptions in order to live. Yes, when I get in my car, I'm assuming that if I drive safely, I'm going to be okay. But then I'm assuming that when I get to a situation that may be a little different, I may have to make a shift. Uh, so making assumptions is something that our primitive brain just constantly does. You'll be driving down the street and somebody is uh, pushing something that is really too heavy for them, and you assume that they should be doing something different. And then you go, oh, wait a minute, that's not my choice to make that assumption because I'm making a judgment that they can't do that. So catching yourself, I think, is the key, and being aware. And because we're even though we're eliminating those programs, they still are part of our everyday living. And I think that's
Yeah.
what makes this experience so unique is that the universe gives us all these opportunities to keep improving.
Exactly. I
Thank
love
you.
that. And
Thank you.
we always say uh, we always say on this show that we are walking the talk because it
Yes.
always brings about situations where we need to manage them, and you can manage anything if you just
Yes.
believe in yourself. We need to believe in ourselves. There's no one of us that are that bad, right? No matter if anyone else have ever told us we are, it's their opinion. Let them have their
Exactly.
opinion. Okay, if
Exactly.
you want to think that about me, maybe we are not a match, right? So you go your way, I go mine, but I know who I am and you don't because you have a fraction of a picture, right?
Well, I have to tell you, when I was 6 years old, I stole a candy bar. And unfortunately, my integrity was such that I couldn't eat the candy bar because I felt so guilty about stealing the candy bar. And I never stole another candy bar. But, you know, but yeah.
Yeah, I understand. So, how does the fifth agreement, be skeptical but learn to listen, shift your understanding of the original four?
Ooh.
Best one last, right?
Ah, I think it gives me the freedom to allow myself the ability to question what it is that I have been programmed to do. And it allows me to realize that it's okay to start going in and taking things that fit and letting go of things that don't. So, how does that question affect your life?
Yeah, it makes things, and we talked about this in other ways, getting rid of all those ideas that have been imposed upon me, for instance, right? That I've been taught. Maybe I don't diminish them. That's not what I'm doing. I'm not judging them, but I simply question, do they belong to me
Exactly.
at this time, in this version that I am right now? Or is it for my highest good to leave a few of them behind because I don't truly believe in them anymore? So during our growth and walking this path also, we are transforming. Think of the caterpillar and the butterfly. We are transforming continuously, meaning that we are shedding skin. That's another way of putting it. Meaning that if we are to keep all the ideas and values and memories and should have done that and everything we come with, we can't move forward. It's going to be a backpack um, 20 times our size. So how can we move forward? We need to also not only transform the spirit, we need to I mean, we don't really transform spirit because it's already perfect, but our experience maybe. I phrase it like that. So if we are going to hold on, because we are always going to, when we work on ourselves, we are always going to find that this idea, this value, this opinion doesn't really fit me any longer. That
Yes.
gives me the freedom actually to feel I'm traveling lighter.
Yeah. And it's interesting with the butterfly. We, in my opinion, I always thought that I knew the butterfly changed. But when I realized that the butterfly literally dissolves completely when it's in the cocoon, and then it is recreated. I think that's what the fifth gives to me, that I can completely dissolve all of those things and start now, having used the four agreements to get myself to the caterpillar stage and to the cocoon stage. I can now dissolve all of those and then recreate my version of what my soul wants to do, because our souls know, and they've just been bombarded with other things. So in that state of dissolving and then rebirthing, and I think the fifth, it gives me that you can do this, you can do this.
Yeah. Yes. Beautiful. So, are we ready? We have a few things to say before we wrap it up.
I
Are we?
I feel that I have, and you're going to laugh when I say this. I'm kind of out of words. Uh,
You're never out of words.
okay. Yes. Thank you for this, revisiting something that is very dear to my heart.
It's dear to mine too because I read the book years ago,
Mm.
after the Celestial Prophecy, to be honest.
And then I've
So
got,
anyway, oh yes, you have it there, right there.
yeah.
You
Oh,
can find upcoming and past episodes at youtube.com/ at Cosmic Guardians 111 / streams. Here we go again, slashes and dashes. youtube.com/ at Angel Place on Earth / streams. And you can find our series where you can find the four agreements plus this one at angelplaceonearth.com / series cosmic guardians. And if you want to connect with me and Corinne, find articles and find out Corinne's phone number, where she has her open heart meditation every Tuesday. I'm teasing you now, right? So go and find her. You can find her at liquidenergyhealing.com or angelplaceonearth.com / cosmic guardians. There's all the information over there as well. And you also find upcoming and past episodes at angelplaceonearth.com / upcoming -past. So next upcoming show on Cosmic Guardians and Cosmic Sis-Stars is going to be next Wednesday, March 18th in US and Europe. And you're going to love this topic. We are going to talk about, are you trapped in your crack?
ooh, that's going to be a good one.
That's that's going to be a good one. And we
Yeah.
do go live for you every Wednesday in US and Europe and Thursday early morning in Australia. So let's go to the affirmation. Do you want
Okay.
to read the affirmation or do you want me to read it?
I'm going to let you read them if you would.
Thank you. We always love to bring an affirmation that fits to the topic. So today's affirmation goes like this: I honor my truth with clarity and kindness. I listen with an open heart, and I walk in agreements that set my spirit free. That's what it's all about.
Beautiful.
So thank you, beautiful souls, for sharing this moment of clarity and remembrance with us. As we close this circle, may the agreements continue to echo gently through your day. May your words be clean, your heart unburdened, your assumptions softened, and your presence rooted in truth. And as you listen to yourself, to others, to life, may the fifth agreement guide you into deeper wisdom. Until we meet again, walk with lightness, walk with awareness, and walk with love. With infinite love, peace, and joy, we see you, we hear you, we honor you, we love you, we appreciate you. Thank
May I
you.
just say one thing real quick? Christine,
Yes.
thank you for joining us. This beautiful young lady has been doing the master class with me. And one of her first assignments
Oh,
was reading the four agreements. And she's the one that said she loves all the agreements. And
yes.
she is this beautiful gift of working with the harmonic bowls and everything else. And I miss you, Christine. Have a good one.
Have a good one. So thank
Thank
you
you.
so much, everybody, and thank you, my precious cosmic sister. And see you next week.
Bye bye.
Bye.